Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds and another series we're giving a playlist.
We're giving you deck building inspiration by showing you 10 super unique decks.
I'm your host, the incomparable Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, regular old Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, bringing you daily content. If you want to help support the channel because you think daily content is awesome, go to the TCG Player link. Once you start with the link, any purchase you make after gives us a little bit of kickback courtesy of TCG Player. Nothing extra for you.
Yes, and if you want to help us celebrate 50K subscribers quickly approaching on the horizon, you can go down to the P.O. Box, send us whatever silly, goofy, PG thing you want. We'll open it in front of this camera, and you will get to see it.
Yes, so this is the fourth installment of our 10 unique deck ideas. We're gonna be laying the foundations for like a skeleton of a really cool deck. It's gonna get the juices flowing, maybe give you some ideas for your next commander deck.
Yes, this is super exciting. We love coming up with these unique ideas. Usually we scour, we look at all different commanders, and we try and say, how could we build this in a cool, different, unique way?
What about this? And the first one is a recent commander. It's Eloise Nephalia Sleuth. Now, I know people are going for generic tokens and aristocrats strategies and Clue Tribal, but we're going to take it into Surveil Tribal.
Yeah, so my favorite card for Surveil.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about this in the past. As Surveil cards, as we get more and more and more Surveil, this card will keep getting better. It's Disinformation Campaign. It enters, you draw, and everyone discard. It is a 4-for-1. It's a solid card, but it's not really that good of a rate. Every time you Surveil, it goes back to your hand. If you can keep doing this over and over again, you'll get a lot of advantage.
Yeah, there's actually a handful of Surveil payoffs. There's also Dimir Spybug. It's not a good card, but when we're surveilling, we're going to throw it in there. It's going to at least smack people for a bunch. Enhanced Surveillance. Now, this actually is good. Eloise lets you surveil multiple times in a turn. There wasn't really a card that did that, so there's nothing that really tied the Surveil deck together. But when you sacrifice all your creatures or your tokens, you're surveilling nonstop. You can, if you want to self-mill, just chuck 3 cards in the bin every single time you surveil one.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite thing about all of these is the campaign. I can't even. That's the card I want to do. Like when I think of surveilling and wanting to pay it off, Disinformation Campaign just gets me so hyped. Like, yeah, the Spy Bug, yeah, the Enhanced Balance. These aren't bad cards. But if you've seen Disinformation Campaign,
it's so satisfying.
It's the most satisfying.
Even just playing it, you're like, oh, I want more. There's also Blood Operative and Whispering Snitch. Lesser payoffs, but they will still do things, especially if you're milling with Blood Operative. And then the cards are going to surveil, aside from Eloise herself, Dream Eater, Doom Whisperer. Those are very, very satisfying mythics. Even Price of Fame, Connive, Concoct, Sinister Sabotage, they're not unreasonably priced. They're playable. They're a little below rate, but you're going to trade an extra mana for the surveil part.
They're very medium cards, yeah. We're playing cards that we wouldn't normally play because they add surveil, and it's just, we want synergy. When you play a deck like this, it's not about being super powerful. It's about sticking to your theme and focusing and doing things. Sinister Starfish? Okay, come on now. Come on. It's literally an evil starfish that surveils.
And glares at people.
Boom. Yeah. That's amazing.
Master of Death works with surveil and surveils.
Yeah, I really like Master of Death. It's just such nice value. You basically have to draw it every time it dies, add a stack outlet, all of a sudden you draw an extra card every turn, 1 mana. It's always a spell. It's kind of cool.
You get a clue also with Eloise up.
Yeah, there's just a ton of value to be had there. Mission Briefing. This is a flashback spell. It's basically Snapcaster, but it's surveilled. Also, Snapcaster's better, but that's not the point. Mission Briefing is cooler.
Yeah, Lazav can copy one of the creatures you mill. That's super cool. Like, I guess, Doom Whisper if you want to surveil even more. And then there's Discovery Dispersal, just like Preordain, but it has another mode that you can use to bounce permanents. That's nice. I am building this deck very similarly. It's going to be like a Clue hybrid with Surveil, and I'm just going to use Nexus of Fate as the win con. I'm going to surveil my deck out and then have Nexus of Fate to take infinite turns. And there's probably other ways you can weaponize it if you want a Thassa's Oracle to just win.
All lame. But the rest of this whole deck is cool. That's just lame.
Pick your win con. I mean, you can go beats, you can go mill, whatever you want.
Yeah. Next we have Mathas, Friend Seeker.
Mathas is a card that gives away resources, and normally this is used as like a goad commander or like a politics commander. We're kind of going away from that a little bit. We're trying to play a bunch of spells that give us something, but also give something away. We're not necessarily forcing anyone to do anything. We're just going to be giving multiple players resources. He's a friend seeker. Pick your friend and then cruise with them into the final 2, and then you can face off from there. So if you want to pick a friend and make the game go that way, or you can just spread out the wealth with all these different cards.
Yeah, we have the Offerings, which is a cycle of cards that you get both effects in the card, and then you can spread out who gets them. If you're trying to make a friend, you can just give them to, like Benevolent Offering. Here, you take the 3 spirits and the life. We're friends.
Yeah.
We are friends.
I need a friend. Mathas is so lonely. There's also Korvath's Fury, Regna's Sanction, Virtus's Maneuver. Literally, it says choose a friend or foe for everybody. So you get to say foe, friend, foe, friend.
Yeah, there's also the Hunted cycle. These come down and they give an opponent, your friend, whatever you want. The Lamassu, what does he give? I don't even know.
It gives away knights or centaurs, or I think the Lamassu gives away like an illusion, 4 illusions maybe? No. They just give away a bunch of different crap.
They just give away creatures. You get this creature that isn't really necessarily good against what you give them. That's the whole idea of these cards. But you give them to your friend, and then you attack another guy with it.
So what would you do if you're in a table and there's this Mathas deck, and they start giving resources away to somebody else? Do you go after the Mathas player, or do you go after the person they're giving stuff to?
I don't know. I'd be annoyed. It just wouldn't be. To me, I hate that kind of play, so I would get really annoyed really fast.
Well, what would you go after?
I mean, I would team up with the other guy. I'd be like, you, me, now we're friends.
Impromptu 2-headed giant game.
Yeah, impromptu tag team match.
There's also Humble Defector, Wishclaw Talisman, and Scheming Symmetry. Give them tutors, give them card draw, pass it around the table, whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah, Humble Defector is a card that has made me angry many a time.
I love that card. It's so fun.
Yeah, poopy mean
Joe
card.
never gets it.
It's a poopy mean card.
This next one, Tale as Old as Time. It's Ravos and Sakashima. We're going to be doing the Upkeep deck. Main focus of the deck, Paradox Haze. We want not only one, but we want multiple Paradox Hazes if possible, and we're going to just do things on our Upkeep over and over and over. Ravos, you see, and Sakashima both can do Upkeep things by themselves, and this deck's going to get wonky.
Yeah, so Paradox Haze means you get extra upkeeps, and now if we copy it with Clever Impersonator, Mirror Maid, Estrage Invocation, now we can have up to like 4 of these on the battlefield, meaning that they all trigger on the first upkeep, and then you'll have 4 more upkeeps after that, meaning any number of upkeep triggers that are going to go off, they're going to go off all the time. Bitter Blossom, Dreadhorde Invasion, these are just going to give you free creatures, and you're going to get like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, they cost you life.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll get that back with different triggers.
Yeah, we'll be okay. And you're going to find Paradox Haze every game. You got a bunch of tutors. We're going to be able to do this. We're in Esper, I think. We'll be able to find it. There's also Search for Escanta. You can just flip that bad boy right away, or just keep it around for like infinite card selection. There's As Foretold. It's going to ramp up to a ton of counters real quick. Midnight Clock, basically just going to be a 3-mana draw 7.
Yeah, it's just going to wheel you. You get to reshuffle your cards into your deck. Maybe you can mill with Search for Escanta, put a bunch of cards in your graveyard, flip it, then just shuffle everything back in. It doesn't even matter what you mill.
Yeah, and then there's Phyrexian Arena, and all of these work super extra well with Estrade's Invocation, because what Estrade says is it's going to copy the Paradox Haze, but then at the beginning of your upkeep, after you give yourself an extra one, it can flicker into a different enchantment, so you can turn it into Phyrexian Arena after that, and then draw 10 cards, or 8, 9 cards.
Yeah, if you have like 4 or 5 extra triggers. Now, be careful. Don't lose too much life, because all these, if we do have Phyrexian Arena, Bitter Blossom, and Dreadhorde Invasion, you can quickly, like, if you get 5 upkeeps and all 3 is around the battlefield, that's a lot of life. So be a little careful. But yeah,
Invasion, if you wait 2 turns with a couple Paradox Hazes, it will gain you life back.
Yeah, I really like Followed Footsteps. You're just going to get so many of whatever stupid, big, silly creature you want.
Oh, and if you do, like, Sakashima, which is already on Ravos, you can just have, like, 12 Ravos out.
Ravos just hangs out.
Just go hand with those Ravoses. Because, like, he says at the beginning of your upkeep, so the first one, you get a Ravos, which will then trigger for every subsequent upkeep.
Yep.
But not the original.
Yeah, of
That
course.
is so weird.
Yeah, it is very strange. What is Palace Siege?
Oh, Palace Siege is just a card that says that your upkeep, each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2, or you Ravos and get a creature back. I kind of like this as a potential win condition. This card is so bad.
To be fair, it's also a way for us to gain some of that life that all these other cards are losing us.
Yes, we're going to desperately need this. There's plenty of other ways to gain life on your upkeep, too.
Yeah, next is Reaper King, Tribal. I want to say that if you want to read about this and look more into it, there's a whole article written by Tomer on
MTG Goldfish?
MTG Goldfish, and he's talked about that deck before. He actually has this deck.
Oh, really?
Made. So that's if you want more information about it, go read the article on Goldfish. If you put Tribal into
search
Google, you'll get it. But there's 2 cards you want every single game. You want Maskwood Nexus, which makes all your creatures changelings. So that's going to be 100% your deck will function perfectly no matter what. Like,
right.
you already have a million changes in the deck. There's really good ones like Round Walker, Masked Vandal, and you're just going to throw crappy ones in because you don't care.
Yeah, like Changeling Outcast, the double strike one.
Amiiboy Changeling.
Right.
You're just going to throw whatever you can in because you just want them to have all creature types for all of the tribal payoffs that exist. There's so many cool ones.
Yes. You also want Mirror Entity so you can pump your team and then make them everything so they all buff each other. We're just cherry picking the best payoffs for various tribes, which will apply to all of our creatures.
Like Hithonia the Cruel.
Right.
Usually a card that there's not many, what are they called?
Gorgons
In existence. Oh, all of our creatures are Gorgons. It's going to be super sweet. We're going to wipe the board. It's literally going to be a Plague Wind.
Yeah, Lord of the Unreal and Drogsoul Captain gives our creatures hexproof, and depending on what they are, or if we have multiples, they can apply to themselves too, and it just gets real crazy from there.
But Magda's super cool. Magda both makes all your creatures, whenever they become tapped, make treasures, and then you search your deck for any creature because you can get a dragon. Oh, wait. All my creatures are dragons.
Oh, that's so cool. I was like, she doesn't search for any. What?
Yeah, she does. And she also gets your Maskwood Nexus for the extra synergies.
Wow, that's so good. Harabaz Druid taps for the number of creatures you control. Unesh Cryosphinx Sovereign turns all your creatures into mini factor fictions.
And they all cost 2 less.
Oh,
The
man.
Sphinxes cost 2 less.
That's amazing. Because they can put the more powerful Lord effects on the creature types they don't care that they don't get support for.
These are just like we're gonna go over a few more because there is way more cool payoffs than this. These were my cherry picked favorites.
Yeah,
There's way
cherries
more.
picked.
Yeah, cherries picks. Captivating Vampire, tap 5 of your creatures, steal a creature. Ren and Siri, for the number of creatures you control, gain that much life and deal that much damage. Okay, whenever you cast a creature, get a cat and a dog. I'm in for this. If you have Maxwood Nexus, get a Changeling and a Changeling.
Jeez.
There's so much here.
Muxus is just going to like Coco your deck into play.
Yep, they'll put all your top creatures into play.
Wow.
Especially if you have Maxwood Nexus, which put ways to tutor it up. You want it every single game.
Oh, Azami Lady of Scrolls, tap a creature, draw a card
Any creature.
without summoning sickness.
Yuriko, any creature deals combat damage.
Yep.
Draw a card and they lose life. And Kiltleaf Liege, tap 5 of your creatures, take someone's land. You're gonna win like that.
This is all just under the umbrella of Reaper King, destroy a permanent also.
And besides anything, these are cherry picked cool ones. There are
Dozens, hundreds.
there's probably hundreds more of these. Some of them not as powerful, but there are definitely. I didn't put all the powerful ones. I just put my favorite ones on.
The
here.
coolest ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Next, we have a partner pairing here to serve its purpose. It's Kydel and Vial Smasher helming our Lucky 13 deck. We are going to win the game with Triskaidekaphile or Triskaidekaphobia. And I was looking, how can we build around both these cards at the same time? Well, by drawing cards and losing life at the same time. Plenty of cards to do that. Night's Whisper, Painful Truths, Villas, Broker of Blood is like exactly what this deck wants. Necropotence, that's a good Magic card. And then Lord of the Forsaken, it literally just says pay a life : so if you want to go down to 13, done.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cards that let you just straight up pay down, but even things like Phyrexiana will be good in this deck because we want to put cards in their hand and we want to lose life. It's just a combination of both of those. We also want to have things that let us draw tons of cards, so we're going to put the MDFC that draws equal to your hand size.
Seagate Restoration.
We're going to play Seagate Restoration. We're going to play Recurrent Insight. We're going to play these over-the-top draw spells to get us over the 13, and then we're going to discard down with things like Putrid Imp, Noose Constrictor, and Ghostly Pilfer. These are all discard a card, and once we draw way too many cards, now we can discard down to win with the Triskaidekaphile.
And drawing cards is a pretty darn good way to find these 2 win cons that we're looking for. And Kydel works super well because if we're drawing a million cards, she taps for a million mana and we can cast our rest of our spells.
Yeah, you can also put tutors in this deck because you really, really want one of those 2 cards. The whole goal of this deck, it can do other stuff. Yeah, sure, whatever. That's not what we're interested in. This is all about winning with one of those 2 cards. So, if I was building this deck, I would put all the strong tutors. I'd have the Vamp tutor. I'd have the Demonic tutor. I would go in on really, really strong tutors because this is a stupid deck. I'm trying to win with an upkeep trigger. That sucks. Okay, so give me a break.
Right. Maybe you want to throw in like a Vidalcan Orrery so you can flash these in and be a little bit more insulated against removal. I did think about putting Triskaideka. I guess you could consider putting both of them in the stupid upkeep stack if you want to have enough upkeeps to get yourself down. Triskaidekaphile's funny because if you have like 5 Phyrexian arena triggers, it's going to check every upkeep if you have 13, and eventually you will. You can just win that way. So maybe this is a double whammy that could go in the upkeep deck or the Lucky 13 deck.
Yeah, very cool. Next we have a Sika God of the Tree, 2-face deck. every single card has a front and on the back, not the magic thing that you normally see, but another sort of card.
Yeah.
Either they transform into this, or they either transform, which is the one way, or they're MDFCs. There's only 2 cards that are double face so far. I don't know if they'll ever do anything different. It seems like transform as if it's on the battlefield, and MDFCs are you can cast both sides from your hand.
Yes, this is a challenge accepted, and it's also kind of a lightly played cards challenge because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
you have double sleeve.
You have to keep flipping your cards over and over and over again. But actually, we're able to play literally 100%. All of the cards in the deck will be two-faced because we have pathways. That's already 10 lands right there. And then MDFCs, there's 30 that have lands on the other side. Plus, we also have Hostile, Westfield Abbey, and Heimwear Battlements. And we might be missing one. It's not. They're like
I think that's everything.
I think so too, but it is possible there's another land with Transform. That's 43 lands. You're actually going to want to cut some of those.
Yeah, you can cut some of the bad MDFCs, like the 4/3 blue land. There's also Ixalan Transform lands. So you have ramp in the form of like Journey to Eternity, Search for Azcanta, Treasure Map, Dowsing Dagger, Growing Rites of Itlimoc, Legion's Landing, and Thematic Compass. So we can ramp. I mean, these aren't the fastest spells in the world, but we're going to be able to get other lands in play too.
Oh, this deck is super slow. All of our ramp is ridiculously
most of our lands that are tapped.
Absurdly slow. Most of our lands that are tapped. Yeah, this is a slow deck, no doubt about it. But the whole thing is it's a challenge accepted deck. All of my cards have 2 faces, and that's pretty cool. There's also the random cool cards, just my favorite ones that when I was looking around, we got all the Origins Planeswalkers. Those are really cool.
Oh, yeah.
They all flip in different ways.
Jeez, all 5?
Well, you're not putting in all 5. You're putting in Bolas, Jace, Nissa, or not Nissa. There's no force in the deck.
Oh, yeah. Liliana and Jace and Bolas.
Yeah, Liliana, Jace, and Bolas. You're putting in those ones. They're really cool. You also have the thing in the ice, which is super cool. There's actually 3 payoffs for instant and sorceries. Luckily, most of the MDFC lands are instant sorceries, so that doesn't work out too bad. We have Thing in the Ice, Smoldering Egg, and Poppet Stitcher. Just all these payoffs for instant sorceries randomly.
Well, let's throw in Primal Amulet, the Ixalan Transform land that now like doubles your spells.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, MDFCs, most of them are instant sorceries. Some of them have creatures on the other side, but those are few and far between.
Oh, you're right. So you can go like Hagramalling your guy, Spikefield Hazard your guy, and then trigger my other flip spells.
Yeah, it's really cool. And my last one that's just because it's in the cube and we saw it be played a bunch recently, Voldaren Pariah. It just sacrifices 3 creatures, and then someone else sacrifices 3 creatures and then flips into a bigger dude.
Yeah. Let's move on to number 7, which is a deck I used to have in real life, and it was super fun to play. Maelstrom Wanderer, Energy Counters. We have no dedicated energy commander, and we don't really have much energy support. So we have the Kaladesh cards, and we have the Proliferate cards. But the deck kind of comes together in an interesting way where it's not as horrifically garbage-tastic as it looks. So you get a Tunith Aether, Decoction Module, Era of Innovation. Like, these are reliable ways to get at least some energy. You're going to need like 2, 4, 6 to get started before you start like messing with it and proliferating it. There's also Glass Blowers and Woodweaver's Puzzle Knots. They're fine. They're a little poopy, but when you're in Teamer, and that's why I chose Maelstrom Wanderer, it's going to recuperate some of the cards you lose. You just have to ramp up to them. What else we got?
There's like Servant of the Conduit, Rogue Refiner, Pima. I don't know why I couldn't get it. These are like creatures that enter and you get some energy when they enter, and like Servant is some ramp.
Yeah, I like Pima Aetherseer because with Maelstrom Wanderer, you're going to get 7 energy. I think that's a pretty good return. And in terms of energy payoffs, we got like Aether Torch Renegade. It's going to pay 8 energy to just deal 6 to somebody. Electrostatic Pummeler, that's a sweet one because that's going to kill real fast. If you get like 12 energy or 15, 18, they're going to start just being dead to 1 hit to this. Whirler Virtuoso actually has an infinite combo. If you can clone Decoction Module and start making it so that every Thopter gives you 3 energy, you have infinite Thopters.
Yep, that is a combo. There's Aetherworks Marvel. This is the best payoff. You can just cast big, silly spells to the top of your deck. This is a standard thing if you didn't ever use it. Gonti's Aetherheart. That'll let you take an extra turn because Gonti's a big jerk and he steals people's life forces.
Yeah, what that card actually is going to do is you just play it, and you're going to accumulate energy over and over and over, and then they're going to have to try to kill it, and you just take an extra turn after that in response to them killing it, and you have a ton of energy to use on things like Lightning Runner, which is just going to give you extra combats multiple times. And you can also go infinite with Lightning Runner if you clone it. Like, Rite of Replication with that is just infinite combats because you're going to get, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 energy and pay 8 to get an extra combat. And there's also the Craterhoof Behemoth of energy, Aetherwind Basker. Just a big, beefy boy.
Yeah, my only thing about this deck is it's cool and it's very unique, but it builds itself. There's not really many directions to go because you're so limited on the number of energy cards, but the deck is definitely unique.
Yeah, your core of like 25 energy cards is pretty locked in, but you then get to pick like, well, how do I want to proliferate? Do I want to go spells matter, artifacts matter? And you definitely want like Evolution Sage and Flux Channeler in here for sure, because they're so good at proliferating. But let's take it to number 8, Cherries. What is this one?
This is Cathrol keyword Highlander. Keywords can only be on cards one time, meaning if it has the keyword, that means lifelink. I picked Sarah Ascendant. It has lifelink. It doesn't have any other keywords unless it has a separate ability that gives keyword. That doesn't count. Its lifelink is here for Sarah Ascendant. That's our one lifelink card. This is so hard to build. I went through and I only did like 4, and that took me like a solid like 10, 15 minutes just to find the ones that I thought were the best. And you could probably take even more time because I didn't even necessarily pick the 100% best lifelink. That's the one I thought might be the best. You could take a long time. For First Strike, Miri, Weatherlight Duelist, I thought that one was one of the best cards. It really lets you control combat.
Yeah, you could go off Cathrol's script too and just pick like Mother of Runes. That's protection. Protection is a keyword. You could just go off for all of them. This is more of like this is an achievement unlocked challenge deck. You just say, I'm just playing one of every keyword creature, and we're going to try to make them work together.
Yeah, exactly. And to add to the challenge, if you want to like add if you're going to add more to the challenge, you want to play non-creatures. So if you want to play equipments, then you could do like, okay, well now let's say this equipment can grant one
keyword.
One keyword. It has to grant exactly one because we can't use Batter Scroll. That grants too many. That's too much.
You might not be able to use any if that's the case. Cause
there's definitely some that only have one keyword.
And there's also like Rayhan, Last of the Abzan. She's going to have Partner. That's our keyword we get to sneak into the deck. And then her +1/+1 counters actually synergize with Cathrol. You can throw them on there, or when Cathrol or the creature dies, throw the counters around somebody else.
Yeah, Cathrol is a tiny payoff for what our deck is. What our deck really wants and what our deck really cares about is just focusing on getting one keyword on each thing. And it's really tough to believe me. I was looking, seriously, this one looks good. Oh, it has flying too. Flying is, good luck picking a creature that only has flying.
Yeah, because all the good creatures have flying life, like that's why you play them. It's like, flying and lifelink? It's like,
Yeah, this is a tough challenge. I would love to see someone's list of this if they can finish up a list.
This next deck exists, but not in this color. It's Nylea, Keen-Eyed Cost Reduction. She's going to make your creatures cost 1 less, and I thought, well, what if we just did that? We just went in on making our creatures cost 1 less over and over and over until they're free. Sort of like a Rakdos style, but we're going to just slam a bunch of Eldrazi, and I was looking at like, all right, how many cost reducers do we have? There's probably a couple. There's like a ton. I'm just going to rattle them off. There's Eye of Ugin, Urza's Incubator, Herald's Horn, the Immortal Sun, Ugin the Virgin, Ezra-Root Channeler, Conduit of Ruin, Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma, Centaur Omen Reader, a card I did not know existed until now, Semblance Anvil, Ronus' Monument, Cloud Key, and Helm of Awakening. And you even have Jade Medallion, the Emerald Medallion, if you want to reduce green spells. But we're going to throw a bunch of Eldrazi in this deck so we can just slam them for free and use Nylea's activated ability to just spend all our actual mana on finding them.
Yeah, this is a deck that kind of exists in the form of Animar, where Animar just gets a bunch of counters and he reduces it all by himself. But this is a combination of taking all the different types of reducers, like you said, there's a land in Eye of Ugin. There's an artifact in the form of Urza's Incubator. There's a planeswalker in the form of Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Every different kind
Ugin the Virgin.
Yes, Ugin the Virgin. You wrote Spirit Dragon on the script. That's your fault. But regardless, you just take all, and like you can literally like every different card type has like some reduction, and then you just reduce it all the way down, and you just cast my 1 mana Ulamog.
Yeah, you're going to play Ulamog, Kozilek, Emrakul, any version of that you can. All the big fat boys are coming to play. You get to play Cloudstone Curio, which now if you have 2 colorless creatures that cost 0, they loop each other infinitely for infinite cast triggers. You also have Aetherflux Reservoir if you really want to go crazy. You just storm off with Nylea and kill everybody.
Yeah.
And if you have big giant creatures that would cost less, how about Walking Ballista Hangerback Walker?
Yeah, they can literally, as high as you can get the reduction is as high as they can take because they're X spells. You can literally go into them completely. Same thing with Cryptic Trilobite and Lifeblood Hydra. They'll take as much reduction as you can give them because they're X spells.
And then what Cryptic Trilobite does, which is like specific to this deck, is it makes Nylea's abilities just cost green. So you can go green, 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 and just draw as many creatures as I can, cast them all right now. So sweet. This is our last deck, number 10. What is it?
It is Amarith, the Illustrious Enchantment Topdecking Tribal. This is 100% enchantments besides lands. It's lands and enchantments because there's just not enchantment lands. They don't exist now, and there's one.
It's not useful.
It's not useful.
You can't put any targets for it.
Yeah, so the real thing that we're doing here is 100% enchantments. That means we're going to, no matter what, we can have creature enchantment, we can have artifact enchantment, it can share other types, but it has to be an enchantment unless it's a land.
We want to maximize Amaranth's trigger. Every time we're triggering, we want a 60% chance of drawing a card off of it, so that we're just going to go nuts with it. And we lose out on some enchantresses, but that's made up for the fact that Amaranth is the ultimate enchantress.
Yeah, it's going to draw basically every time as long as it's not a land. But we decided to go in on top deck, so we have counterbalance. So if we can manipulate our top card with some other cards like, Future Sight and Corsair Kufix, where we can take the lands off the top, we're going to have stuff. And sure, maybe like when a course is out, they won't be able to cast in. They won't cast into it. But it's like, hey,
that's even better.
That's I don't think that's better. I think countering their spell is better than them not casting it, but it is an upside still, though not as good.
Right. I mean, so you have a 2-drop on top. It's just going to stay there. And they're going to go, okay, can't cast my Signets this turn. It's just going to get countered for free. But we also have Lurking Predators, which is sweet. So if we're trying to fiddle around with our top card, with some of the cards we're going to list later after this, it's like every time it triggers, we're going to get one of our enchantment creatures just into play. This is such a good Lurking Predators deck.
Yeah, it is definitely a sweet-looking Predators deck. Miri's Guile and Sylvan Library trigger on our upkeeps, and they'll let us control the top card of our library, which is what we want to be doing. We want to draw land, and then we want to, on our turn, just have, stack the other 2 to be enchantment, so I'm drawing 2 for sure.
Every time. We also have Soothsaying. It's like Sensei's Divining Top, but it's an enchantment.
But
I mean, obviously it's worse. So we're going to use it to, trick people with our counterbalances and our Lurking Predators and just mess with it. And Future Sight, too. Hey, I need to find a land. All right, there it is. Break my land off the top, and now I can cast my enchantments and trigger enchantments and find what I need.
Yeah, also, because the only 2 types are land and enchantment, when we know our top card and we can control it, we know what order to play our stuff in. If there's a land on top, we know to play our land first to trigger Amaranth. And if it's an enchantment, we know to play our enchantment first and then check if it's a land. We just have so many ways to look at and manipulate the top card that it's going to help us a lot to make good choices.
Yes, exactly. And we're going 100% in. So we got Eidolon of Blossoms and Enchantress Presences. So we got Eidolon of Blossoms and Enchantress's Presence. They're enchantments that draw off enchantments. Those are pretty much some of the only ones we can play. And then we also have Greater Oromancy. You're not going to target any of our stuff.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
And just so you know, and this deck actually surprisingly can ramp still because it's actually decent. Carpet of Flowers, Utopia Sprawl, Wild Growth, enchantments that just ramp you. There's more. There's 2 mana ones like
Fertile Growth, Overgrowth. They're all totally fine.
Yeah, you'll just play as many of these as you possibly can because the whole point is you're only enchantments. So I'll take a bad one. I'm going to play some 3 mana ones here.
Yeah, you also have Wolf Willow Haven is a 2 mana one that was recently printed.
Yeah, I was thinking I'm even willing to go to Gift of Paradise here because I want to make sure I can ramp. Ramping is important, so I'm going to play my Commander Spheres and enchantments because enchantments is not the best ramping.
Yes. So that's our list. I hope you liked it. I hope we got tons of notes and juice to put in your next decks. But Cherries, we have shout-outs to make.
Yes, we do. Special shout-outs to all of our patrons. Love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. You guys I have now officially put this in order of joining. So the top people have been there the longest.
Yes.
And the bottom people are the newest people. So I thought that was just, somebody suggested that. I'm like,
good idea.
That's a good idea, and it's easier for me.
Right. So you can also support us with the link in the description. Buy the cards that I know, and you were going to buy anyway. But if you want to start with the link, you basically just give us free money. You're not spending any extra. But TCG players sees it, and they want to throw us a few bucks to help them out, for helping them out.
Usually you say sauce us.
Yeah, I like saying sauce as a verb, but I didn't today.
Sauce is not a verb.
No, it is not. We definitely had a tidbit.
We have a Discord.
We do have a Discord, but we have a tidbit too.
We have a Discord where you can join, talk to the Nitpicking Nerds, message. We take DMs, we talk to whoever, and also there's just like-minded individuals who like Magic and the Nitpicking Nerds.
Yes, and it's a tidbit about our lives. We usually don't say that part. We usually just say tidbit, and it's probably confusing. But the end is always a tidbit about our lives.
I'm cheating. This tidbit about my life or our life is that I can't think of what the tidbit we wanted to say was, and it's driving me actually insane right now.
I really hate sometimes when you have a thought and you lose it. And it's like you feel like you just lost a piece of your soul. It's so frustrating.
I can remember everything about the moment. Like, me and BZ literally were sitting at our desk yesterday. Uh-huh. We were talking, and we said something, and this is the thing I can't remember.
Yeah, we were like, and then I said, tidbit. And he was like, yep.
I'm like, yeah, 100%. Like, it was a perfect tidbit. Like, something
perfect for you
to tell you guys. And now here I am.
Help us think of it by subscribing.
We finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's the closest thing I can.
I don't think it's that, but we gotta go.
That's it. Peace out, Tribe Scout.